Okay, the risk of starting any later than actually intended. Hey everybody, welcome to my hero, to the MH4ALL podcast. It is me, Game Hunter. Spear is a little bit late. He should be here any minute now. So we're just gonna I guess not really start, but start. We'll just open up with some statistics, if I'm allowed to. Geez, for a reason, most of our viewership is from Germany. Hello, Germans. Don't know how you feel about listening to two Americans talk about anime. We welcome you here and everywhere else. Huh. You know what? I don't think I uploaded last week's episode, the one prior to this. Let me go in, I should go download that. That Anchor just can't get an episode from YouTube. That'd be awesome. Huh. That's weird. Co-host just went offline. I might have to review the episodes myself here in a few minutes. See here, before I make this executive decision. Hope everything's alright over there. Hey, welcome.
Holy crap.
What?
You're only coming out of one speaker, and I think the speaker might be one of my monitors. Hang on.
Is that a
I don't know
problem?
why. It's just really weird. You sound like you're sitting on my left. I'm just seeing if I can quickly fix it.
Okay, I mean, the pre-show ended and I was just talking to whoever was listening. But, I was just looking at analytics. Nothing started yet, so don't worry. I saw you go offline. I got really concerned.
You should be able to hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, when did you stop hearing me at some point?
No?
No.
Well, I mean, I was talking to you and you weren't saying anything. I figured you maybe
I
muted
couldn't.
me.
No, I didn't mute you. I couldn't hear you. I
Oh,
just went over and checked my settings, but they looked fine for output, but they didn't. It looked weird for input, so I switched it.
I started hearing me again on your end, but I think I stopped.
Jesse's been ask-
Hmm?
Jesse's been asking me for like years to start playing Terraria with her again, and I
Oh,
was like, I played it out. Like I'm tired of it, but we started playing it a little while ago, and we started having a lot of fun with it. So we just found a mushroom biome for the first time. I can't even remember what mushroom biomes are good for, but I remember they were like the greatest thing in the world. So um, even though the thing went off, I was like, let's look at it for a second before we go back up. So we looked for a second, but you know how long a second is in Terraria. It made me late.
I guess I want to apologize to you for that spam yesterday. I don't know what happened. I think I know what happened is that I got spam from somebody else that I guess got their account hacked. I didn't realize that when I clicked on that link, it hacked me. I didn't realize it until I started seeing that well, you said something which confused me. I was like, what's happening? I see the link. I'm like, I saw that link before. Oh, I got hacked. And I immediately went to go and fix everything. So you kind of saved me.
Oh, really?
You saved me by
It's
saying something. It was like, I didn't even know it was that I had randomly sent you a message. So thank you for saying, huh?
You're welcome, but at the same time, like I actually did click on it because it's been so long since I've had a hacked message. And it was you, and I'm like, I thought you probably did have some old, like 6 year old like picture of me or something that you were gonna tease me with.
You should probably change your password. I'm gonna warn you right now. That's how they got me.
I didn't finish clicking. I clicked on it and it didn't load. And it was on my phone,
No,
and
that's
then
what
I
happened
just,
to me.
oh really?
It didn't go anywhere.
Oh,
I will warn you just to change your password just in case. I found somebody who was in Virginia in my account, and that's when I was like, wait a minute, that is not me. So I changed it. I mean, there's too many people who that message got sent. So I'm hoping none of them clicked on that. Um, another friend of mine from high school responded to it, and I was very shocked. Actually, I told him to like change your passport. Just I was hacked.
All
So I
right,
was like,
nobody's been in my phone for a while, so I think I'm okay for now. I will change it, but I don't think anyone logged in. I think I had two-step authentication anyway, where they would need my phone as well.
something happened. They got access, and I was like, man, they're using me. They're using my. I was like, I really didn't. There's too many people. Like, there's too much to clean up. So I mean, if they see that message, I hope that they realize that it was a spam.
Yeah,
I didn't, and it was my fault. So I got hacked, and it was my own stupidity. I didn't even realize it was a hack message until that happened, because I was like, I saw that message to me from somebody else. I was like, did he have an old picture of me? Because he was a coworker. I was like, did he have an old picture of me? I clicked on it and nothing loaded. I was like, huh. It didn't even dawn on me that it was a spam message.
Oh yeah.
If I realized that, I wouldn't have clicked on it. And oh well, I'll be doing. I barely use Facebook. Probably how they got me too is like I barely use it. Like it's not a social media platform that I actively use. Okay, guess we're here for the next episode review of My Hero, and also the first episode of Dragon Prince. It's come back. All 9 episodes are dropped, and we'll be reviewing one episode at a time. I see here in your notes you have a very small paragraph of Dragon Prince, and I had already wanted to bring up maybe.
Oh, you thought to look at my notes. That's cool.
Huh?
Oh, you thought to look at my notes. That's cool.
Yeah, with that, I had this idea before and I wasn't sure, and then based on your notes, I'm guessing maybe it's a very like compared to what you have for My Hero Academia, it's a very small paragraph. So I was like, maybe we could just review season 4 of Dragon Prince like right this minute, and then we can move on to My Hero, and we can end on My Hero. So people who don't want to listen to us talk about Dragon Prince don't have to listen to us talk about Dragon Prince.
Okay. Whatever you want is fine with me.
I just figured since it was just a small paragraph, I guess you don't really have much to say. And I only watched it twice. I didn't rewatch it a third time. And I mean to say that I didn't watch it again for tonight. So I was gonna let you lead this one. I was gonna bounce whatever I had off of your topic, leading here. So I'll leave it to you. Dragon Prince Season 4, Episode 1. It's been 2 years, and we're finally here, and they do address the 2-year time skip. Funny. If I remember, but...
Okay.
Lead the way.
Sorry, I just finished resetting my password. I did it immediately when you recommended it. Okay, so... There's been a 2-year time skip, as you mentioned, since the last episode. We start into the episode, and it looks like it's a very big time of peace for Ezra's kingdom, and they're kind of all they're catching you up, and I think the show's self-aware that it's been like 3 years since their last episode. So they're not doing a recap episode by any means, but they're sort of like a lot of this episode was just explaining where everybody's at right now. You see that Soren is using magic now, just kind of like really casually on the reg. Like he's got like a water shield for when it rains and things like that, and he's just using it in his day to day.
If I can stop you right here, I just want a refresher. Maybe you remember this more than I do. Magic isn't something that humans are capable of using, right?
Well, it was thought that, but Soren is capable of it. After he shattered the air globe that had the storm inside of it, where he was drawing all his magic from, he was able to. He was falling and he was able to grow wings. I forget exactly the scenario, but he was able to grow wings. So he discovered that for whatever reason, he can use magic.
Yeah, but I guess before I let you also continue,
Mhm.
Was it ever really explained what the world Claudia and Varen were using?
Black magic. They were stealing magic from the creatures of the forest and stuff like that.
Okay,
Fairy creatures, and they were drawing it from them.
okay.
And it's interesting because black magic seems like it permanently takes its toll on you. There was that red dragon that they met that was blind, but he could smell the black magic on him, even though he hadn't used it that recently. So we know that black magic like sits with you, and obviously doesn't sit well with fairy creatures because they know that you used it by stealing it from living fairy things.
Guess it means that it draws on death. Okay, I just want to make sure because I was watching this episode twice, yesterday and the day before, and that was kind of weirding me out. I guess I was trying to remember because I haven't watched the series in forever. Okay, continue. I just wanted to make sure that was for my clarification, but also for anybody else probably watching this who doesn't remember.
Yeah, so that was basically it. Like you have to draw magic from something, and humans, as far in um, fairy creatures could just naturally do it, like they just had naturally intrinsic magic. But as far as they understood, humans couldn't do that. They had to steal magic from something. So they would either contain a storm in a bottle, or they'd kill something and use its and use death magic to like make it theirs or something like that. So that's kind of like where that went.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because like I was watching it and I feel like I knew this information, but I just need thank you for
You're
clarifying.
welcome. Yes, sir. So yeah, Claudia has done what she said is some terrible things, in the name of helping her father like get back to himself. Um, Soren has, and he's back for a month. Soren has used his magic to like on a regular basis now. Like he's the head wizard. It's generally known that he's a magician. He's of high of high stature. Um, Ezra pulls together a council at one point, and the council seems very like quaint and not kingly. And I thought this was very interesting because in previous episodes when he was king, the woman that is in white with the crown had thought that Ezra was not built to be a king because he didn't want to do all the kingly responsibilities. And now here we have Ezra kind of in the same boat. He's just not doing them and sort of avoiding all of that. And it makes me wonder like what's really going on and if anybody's really ruling the world, because like their big decisions were like the title of the new head baker and Bait is on the council and things like that. So there's a sort of like lighthearted innocence to it, but then there's also sort of a red flag for me that there seems to be like a little bit of negligence involved in like this whole process, that like Ezra seems to be kind of allowing himself to ignore kingly things that he should be doing, and then possibly even go ahead.
I mean, you say that, but I don't see it here. But like, what do you consider the dragon visiting thing? I thought, based on what he was doing there, on what he was saying, now that this could be twofold. You know, we don't know really why he's allowing the dragon to visit. I could have sworn the dragon queen died, but I guess she didn't. They're trying to like mend the.
Why would the dragon queen have died? At the end of the last episode is when we first saw her, and she was like, "My children, you're all so beautiful," and that was sort of like how things ended, with like everybody holding hands and checking things out.
I don't know. I feel like that. Okay, maybe like I said, I don't remember the last season all that well. Some of like the major story points I remember, but like not too much. But like, you don't. What do you consider the whole meeting of the Dragon Queen and the people of Zadia? Wait, is Zadia that he's supposed to be the king of?
Sorry, what?
Well, what's the kingdom name of like what's that Ezra is supposed to be king of?
Zadia.
So yeah, the kingdom of Zadia and then the Dragon Queen. They're supposed to be meeting. He said that the big meeting, the big thing that tomorrow that they're doing is that they're trying to like mend the relationship between the fairy creatures and humans.
Hmm. I'm
You know,
sorry. Ezra's kingdom is Catullus. Zadia is where the fairies live.
okay, the Kingdom of Catullus and the Kingdom of Zadia are supposed to be meeting. Well, the dragon from Zadia is supposed to be coming in. The Dragon Queen is supposed to be coming in to, I guess, have like a visit. That's gonna be fun. But what do you consider that? You know, that him asking her to come and visit, is that not like a big kingly decision, or?
Except he admits that that one of the biggest reasons he's doing it is because he misses his friend, Zim. So like they accuse him and they say, are you really doing this for your kingdom, or are you just like, do you just miss Zim? And he goes, can it be both? But we know that like he's influenced by the fact that Zim is involved. So I mean, we know it literally as an audience that that it's a thing. So I struggle to struggle to be fully like applauding him for that when I know the context.
Sorry, no, I'm just like I'm trying to re. I don't remember those exact wording. Maybe it was said in a way that it definitely didn't catch me off guard. I'm just gonna rewatch that part, but you can continue. I just want to make
No,
sure that I'm that my knowledge is correct.
yeah. But anyway, they don't seem to be doing very much of import. Like the council doesn't seem very kingly. Bates on the council, the chef is on the council. They're all his friends, or like, I know a king would want their trusted people on there, but there's also people that just have jobs that need to be considered, you know? And he's not really doing that. He's still kind of being a kid about it. And of course he is, because he's sort of a kid, but now he's kind of an old kid, you know? And like, he is. He's an older
No,
kid now.
I'm just sorry. Just the way you said it. He's a kid, but he's actually an old kid. It's like,
Yeah,
this is the way you said it.
it's all good. But like, he is though. He's like, he's not the little kid that should be doing these kind of things anymore. He should be a little bit more responsible as a king if he's going to play that role. And I think that, and then there's this little moment of intrigue where they're whispering something, and Soren doesn't know what it is, and he's like, "You guys gonna fill me in on it?" And you think that maybe this is where like the plot line picks up, and like there's something going on there where like there is like this subplot of like danger, or you know, someone moving in the shadows that we don't know about, and then we just find out it's a surprise birthday party for Soren. So it's a rough plot if you're trying to get really invested in what's going on, because there's nothing really going on in that way. And it's not that I didn't enjoy it, because I enjoyed this enormously, and it was an important episode. But like, I think the conflict that was set up here was that Ezra's not quite doing everything that he wanted to do. The only like little sort of hint to me that like there was something deeper going on was, I know that these are the people that wrote Avatar, and the guards, the way they were kind of like standing in front of the pillars, and they had slanty-eyed looks when they were talking about the Dragon Queen coming. It could have been interpreted as those guards were just worried about, you know, the queen of all dragons, like who they've learned is like, you know, they've been raised up to think is dangerous. It's at 9:49. But I also got like a very, very light, and I noticed this without thinking about it the first time, and then I noticed it a little more deliberately the second time. But I got very light Dai Li vibes from that. Do you remember the Dai Li from Avatar?
Yeah, you mean was it Judy?
No, you're thinking the other Avatar. I'm talking about the first Avatar. Avatar, the Last Airbender one.
That's what I'm saying. I think that. What was the name of that lady that was brain? You talking about the when they were at the Earth Kingdom, and as we slowly started getting into the Earth Kingdom, we started noticing that there were some people that were brainwashed. Because I feel like that was the Dai Li, because the Dai Li is a part of the Earth Kingdom, right?
Yeah, the Dai Li were the guards though that kind of really ran the show, and the king was kind of protected and was kind of out of touch with reality, and had no
that's what
idea.
I was saying. Cause wasn't there like some brainwashing going on, especially with that Judy lady?
It was. Oh, I thought you meant like Judy do the thing, Judy from the other Avatar. Um, I'm not 100% clear now that you're talking about it that way. I think that, but we're on the same page, whether it's Judy or not. Like there was the Dai Li were actually in charge of the city at that point, and that was who you were supposed to be keeping your eye on, not like the Last Airbender.
Yeah, I know.
So,
But real quick, I've watched it, and as I was trying to listen to you and also listen to them. The wording wasn't like there, but I guess at the same time I can see what you mean. Like, she's asking Ezrin to think it through. So I guess, yeah, you could say as a little kid, but I feel like his heart was still there. I mean, even if it was because he misses them, I think he really does want to improve the relationship. Now, is like the relationship between the kingdoms like his first forethought? Probably not. But I'm pretty sure his heart's there. It's just not, as you say, kingly. He would probably, as a king, would probably first of all get the okay from his people, if they are okay with a massive dragon lady walking through their streets.
right.
Unless the dragon, she can turn into a human size, who the heck knows. But
one way or the other, it's going to be kind of alarming. Like the word's out now; those two guards know. They're not going to like not go home and tell their wives, "Holy shit, the Queen of All Dragons is going to show up and say hi." With the Prince of All Dragons in tow, like it's gonna. Word's out. Like that's all there is to it. Like word on the street is this dude's on his way. So I don't see that not being a thing.
No, I understand. I just I feel like you can go both ways on that because the wording wasn't really 100% there, but I could see what you mean, and
you sure can. It just they've got to be building a plot somewhere, right? And this is the signs that I see right now of a plot in progress. That we have like almost nothing going on here unless we try to read between the lines a little bit. Even Viren like is very tame in this. Like he's like like he's like
Viren is taking a 180. He's not the same character that he was in season 1. And I think that was the whole idea of why he went through that transformation and died. Apparently, confirmed he died in season 3.
Yeah. So, yeah, but even he seems like mild. He doesn't seem like the deep plot point. The obvious plot points we have are that the cocoon's there and it's growing something and we don't know what. That the elf, the elf that like they've been working with is Azrael, is it? I'm rough on the pronunciation.
I think Erebos.
Erebos, thank you. Erebos is obviously got something up his sleeve.
I want to say, and I thought about this as this was happening and they're talking. I think, hear me out. I think Erebos, Erebos says he's inside of a prison in a magical world from where he doesn't know where he is, and they need to find the door to get him out. Based on the fact that Erebos was able to squeeze out a caterpillar, buddy, through the veil, I'm willing to bet, considering also, if you remember correctly, as Varen was using magic power that was given to him by Erebos, he was changing, and like his skin, as you said before, dark magic has been shown to have a permanent effect on you. And also Erebos has told Claudia, we also know Claudia is also very gullible. This isn't like a season 3. Oh my god, we've known for a while that you could probably talk Claudia into anything. And also
she's
Claudia,
she's very devoted to her father.
I feel like she's gullible though. I mean, I feel like, I'm not saying that as like a negative thing, or it's something that she's dumb or anything. Like, I'm just saying that I feel like the circumstances, like her father, for instance, we know that she didn't want to believe her father was evil or doing anything nefarious, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't evil because he was just trying to become crowned king. But whatever. She didn't want to
She's
believe that he
nefarious.
was doing anything nefarious, and it led to his demise and his death. She brought him back, and she said she did things she didn't think she could do. Hmm?
He was nefarious as hell. He planned the coup on the king.
And also,
He,
but she didn't want to believe that.
she was doing shit herself. She was torturing, like, doing horrible things to, like, forest creatures and harvesting them and treating it like it was fun.
But she also didn't know that was bad. But crying out loud, like what I was saying with her character, I don't think Claudia understands or really grasps a lot of what's been happening, regardless if it's been happening in front of her. Because she uses dark magic and she doesn't know what she's doing. I don't know what she does, but she doesn't seem to grasp it that much. She doesn't think. I'm pretty sure something was done to her at a young age that would probably make her believe that all that she's doing is not that bad. Granted, she also said that the things she had to do to bring her father back, she didn't know she was capable of, which is also another red flag. But
She seems pretty resourceful, independent, and capable in most things, in my opinion.
yeah, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying that I don't think, like, based on, I don't think she truly believes her father was nefarious or whatever. Now, based on whatever he was doing, regardless of whatever, it's obvious that he was being fairly devious. But
I think she believes her father and is extremely, like, loyal and devoted to him, and that's kind of like the problem here for her.
I don't know. It just, to me, it's like, regardless of how devoted you are, you would call your whoever it is, regardless of if your brother, your father, or mother, whatever. I don't think I think she truly grasps what's going on. This is my take on her. I think she's just unable to grasp what's going on, or she doesn't want to. How about that? She doesn't want to grasp what's going on here. There's the point that I don't know how many fairy creatures she killed to even get him.
It all.
Like to get him. Huh? What?
She killed all the things.
Yeah. I mean, she did a lot of things. She said that and she was crying, so she can definitely grasp death. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if she knows what she's doing to fairy creatures is killing them, but whatever.
She was crying.
Huh?
The girl character was crying. Well, that makes it okay.
I'm not saying. Like, I want to say, based on everything she's done here, I don't think she took completely 100% grasp what she's doing. She's probably 90% grasping what she's doing, but I don't think she's 100% grasping what she's doing. Basically, what I want to say is, I think my theory is, I think, and this is probably almost evident just by what's going on. I think Erebus wants to take over Varen's body. One,
yeah.
He says that he can alone make his revival permanent. That doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah.
I think he wants his body, and I say this mainly because Varen's body has been changing throughout the course of the entire series that he's been a part of. He's been talking. Erebus has been talking specifically to Varen, doing everything he can to make sure that Varen's the only one that can hear him. The only time he didn't do this was when he's talking to Claudia. And he told Claudia specifically what she needed to do to bring him back. Meaning he probably made a husk. And is probably intending to not, he's probably gonna let the month play out, and then when Varen does officially die, he'll be dead for good. But the body on the ground, she doesn't know what she did. But
if you were Erebos, would you be trying to help Varen stay alive at this point? Or would you be much more interested in seeing if there's a way you could take Claudia instead?
Are you proposing that maybe he's going to take over Claudia instead? Is that what his goal is?
Nothing in the story has suggested that, but boy, it makes a lot more sense to me if he took Claudia at this point than him. Claudia is a much more, she's not going to die in 30 days. Think about it this way.
Well, here's the thing, though. I need
to speak this out because I'm going to forget it. Varen supposedly is going to die in 30 days. And he's an older, weaker body than Claudia. Claudia is more impressionable and less smart about these kind of things. She's more manipulative, more able to be manipulated than and doesn't have an ambition the same way. And at this point, on top of all that, his her father's will is kind of like damaged, if not broken, right now. So he's had 2 years to work with Claudia, which is more time than he had to work with Viren in the first place. And he's in a cocoon right now and vulnerable. There's something going on in that cocoon with a caterpillar. We both think that he needs some sort of human host as an anchor for some reason in the future. Claudia's done some horrible things under this thing's instruction while like working to bring the father back. If you were Erebos and you needed to keep Claudia busy for a month while your cocoon finished up, wouldn't it be great to send her on kind of a fool's quest to like take care of Viren while you like finished up your thing, and then you could take her over when you came back, and like who gives a crap about Viren once you have Claudia?
Well, the thing is, you make a good argument, and I guess honestly, I guess realistically, you probably would, because I mean, maybe Claudia's got more magic aptitude. But here's the thing: sometimes you want like it isn't really about like aptitude. It's mostly about like the age or something like that. Because sometimes like magic users, typically the better ones are typically older, as it is. And on top of that, they say that Viren's gonna die. They don't really talk about the body. Because even Claudia mentions that he had to get used to being alive again, which is an odd statement to make. Unless there's something else that we don't know what's going on there. And also, yes, he did have Claudia do all this, but who's to say that as you said, she's manipulative. She's able to be more manipulated. Who's to say that like as he was doing this, he could like suggest anything to Claudia and she probably wouldn't ask because she's very desperate to get her father back.
Mm-hmm.
Like who's to say that as he was doing all this, he also cocooned like his corpse apparently as it was all mangled up. Who's to say that as he was telling her to revive all this stuff and the things he was asking her to do, who's to say that as the spell was being made, it didn't do anything else besides pull Viren back from the grave? And even if like even with the whole I don't need Viren things, I mean that's honestly true. I feel like maybe getting rid of his spirit is basically all he's really trying to do. Because I think, as I said before, I think he just wants a husk. I think Erebos might actually be dead himself, and like he's somewhere. He's somewhere else.
Maybe he just wants a hug. Maybe it's not a husk he wants a hug.
Ugh. But I like theories. This is the crockpot theory, but I'm pretty sure maybe Erebos is dead. Maybe he's like some spirit or something somewhere else. Like he doesn't have a body. And like he feels like maybe unassumingly he could take on a human body and do what he wants to do. Because again, we don't know what Erebos like. We know Erebos did something because like it seems really weird that he was stuck on the other side of a mirror this entire time. And the runes that are on the mirror are curious as well. But like I don't know. I feel like maybe it's like I don't know. Maybe if he is trying to take over Claudia, it didn't really cross my mind. But I thought maybe somebody who's got more time, knows how to use magic better, would be a better host than a young person who doesn't have that much. She's like able to learn, and maybe she's got more aptitude towards magic. But I was like, you feel like maybe somebody older, and maybe who knows, maybe he'll take him over and then mold her and then take her over.
I really think the point is just that she's younger and has a stronger body, and he's going to come in with the knowledge anyway.
But I mean, if the body can't handle the knowledge, what's the point of having the body?
It's a girl.
Yeah, like I mean, like who knows what honestly what he is like capable of.
I just wanted to mess with you. It's a girl. Oh, I got a girl. I
don't even know if he want. I mean, then again, who knows? I mean, nothing really. There's no boundaries in this world, so who knows? But I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense that he probably. I mean, Claudia's also having the body transmogrification thing happening to her. Her hair is half white, and that happened at the end of season 3, if I remember correctly, when she was using magic to bring him back or try to bring him back. Oh yeah, the first time she tried bringing him back, it wasn't successful, and her hair turned white in the process. Well, half white. Because beforehand, like she definitely had a white strand, and she was trying to hide it.
Yeah, but I mean, her streak is 50-50 now, so it's like
Yeah, I
she's
know. I
kind
mean,
of
by the end of season 3, she was trying to bring him back, and it didn't work. I think pretty much what they're referring to what she did here is like they had leeway because they didn't have an episode in the 3 years, he said, and they made reference to that kind of. I guess we'll find out. I feel when we probably honestly surely won't know what Erebos's goal is here until season 5. I suspect it's only 9 episodes, so like unless they really like go forward with the plot, episode 2. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. I don't know. There we'll see what's really going on before the end of the season. I'll let you continue. Sorry for dragging you off there.
No, that's fine. I think that she's just on a precipice. I think the idea there is that she's like teetering between good and evil, and she has the black and white streak. And in this case, I think the white streak is evil. And like even the 2 people she has on her side right now is like Terry's a little sketch. He sounds like discount Korg. I put Drax, but I meant Korg from the MCU, the rock guy.
Oh yeah.
He sounds like discount Korg. Like he would at least have a good old heart-to-heart conversation with Korg if they ever met. But he's not good at magic. He's not powerful. The dad is powerful. The dad is known for evil. Terry seems to be known for good. But who knows? I mean, with how duplicitous Claudia is, he could be just as duplicitous, but at least we have a pretty good idea that he's not powerful. And again, this is just a very silly world in general. Like, I'm put in my notes that the dancers were all doing the floss at the birthday party for their dance. That was a little disturbing. I think I had some nightmares about that one, actually. Not the floss, oh god. You know, one of those. And that's kind of it. Like the obvious conflict, like I said, is Avaros like doing like has some plan. It involves a cocoon and Claudia and her father, Aviran. And other than that, I think that the conflict here is about what's going to happen when the dragon shows up. That not everybody's going to be as optimistic about it as good-hearted, wholesome. Oh my god, main character.
Oh, Soren?
No, the Ezra. I don't think everybody's as good-hearted as Ezra seems to believe they are, and I think that he could be in for some disappointment. I think that that's like there's a lot of things like that in place right now that we're going to see pan out, and that's going to be a lot of the intrigue of what's going forward here. But it was a good episode. I thought it was sweet when Janai proposed to Maya in sign language, and ended up saying, "Do you want to wrestle?"
Well, I mean, if I had to play a devil's advocate, that's not a wrong thing to ask in a marriage situation, because you're gonna wrestle, quote unquote, afterwards anyway.
You can say that again.
I had to say that. I'm sorry. I just thought it was kind of funny.
There's also sort of an innocence in the elf world too, where the elf queen that she's marrying, Janae. I love you, Janae. Sorry. There's also that sort of like mixed message there too, where she seems very optimistic about the future, but at the same time, we've got her guards and her people kind of like not 100% bought into bringing a human over to the elf side, and the humans are not so great at like a fairy creature over to their side. So there's definitely notes of division going on here, and notes of clashing worlds. You know what I mean, with the elves and the humans and the elves, Claudia and her father. There's just a lot of that clash going on here, and I think it's as peaceful and innocent and sweet as this episode is. I think it's boiling a little bit up very subtly in the background. So, and I'm here for it. I'm curious what's going to go on with that.
I guess as we transition to the next show we're going to talk about here, I want to you do have in your notes here, but you don't actually speak it. Rayla and Soren, well, mostly Rayla left Soren during his birthday, and I'm guessing it happened during like the 2-year time skip that we weren't there for. I've been thinking about this particular statement that he made, that this is no longer my birthday because Rayla left me on this day. I've been wrestling with this statement because it seems really, the way Soren states it, it sounds like they had a fight and then she just ran off. But I also think that maybe she ran off for like some kind of gift or something like that and never managed to get back. Like,
she could have left because she's afraid of being too close to people, which we see all the way through the previous series. She might just not be able to be close to people and kind of like had to take off for her own reasons.
I guess, I don't know, it just seems really weird that, like, she's so far the only character I don't think we've gotten to catch up with, actually. What character you probably care about, We
know she's not there, and we don't know. She could be dead, maybe. We're not really so sure.
I don't think she's dead, though. I think we could take death off the table.
I think you're right. But, like I said, for all we know, like, we don't really know what's going on there 100%. So.
Well, we definitely know the Night Elves don't like humans. Like, I think they're one of the 2 tribes that we know that are very vocal about not liking humans. The other one being the fire. What was it like? It was like Sunfire Elves. Yeah, the Sunfire Elves. The Sunfire Elves are very vocal about not liking humans, and also the Moon Knight or Night Moon. I forgot the name of the tribe that she belongs to. We'll probably find out whenever they show back up again. But the Night Moon Elves, they were the 2, huh?
The Moon Knight. We're going into the DCU now. I got you.
Like those 2 tribes have been very vocal. Now I don't know about like Terry. I think he even mentioned what tribe he was from. I think it was like the Terrestrial or something like that. Elves.
Terry McGinnis.
Dang it. We know. I don't know what they're like, considering that he seems to be very not standoffish about liking a human. So I don't know. Like we know there are 2 elf tribes that they're very, very against humans. So I guess maybe it's her own personal problems. Like she kissed him when in a very high moment, and we never saw like the ending of that. Kind of like how Katara and Aang kissed at the end of the series of Avatar. Granted, that wasn't really a high tension moment. That was just more like we can now have a life situation. But yeah.
So you're saying she kissed a human and she liked it?
Essentially, she doesn't know how to deal with it, apparently. I don't know. She
kissed a human, she liked it.
I guess with that, we can...
Very chapstick.
We can then move on to...
Just to try it.
Done yet? Are you good? We can...
She's got a lot of love. Moving
on to My Hero Academia Season 6, Episode 7.
We got so to go, red I love. Sorry.
Dang it. He's in rare form, this guy. Just in the rarest form.
It's a little rare. It's like if it was a steak, we'd probably send it back.
We're talking episode 7 of My Hero Academia Season 6. We continue off with the last one where, like, again,
to say,
very bare
first,
bones, like synopsis of this episode before we talk about it. Everything's gone to hell.
my early initial take on this was that the filler in this series is just incredible. Like the quality of the filler that they've been doing lately, I'm really blown away and impressed by it.
Are you done? I get it's not enough for Avi. I get it. We can move on now.
The episode. It's obviously filler when she's not in the episode.
I wonder if this is a joke that's even catching on, or you're just trying to bury it.
What?
I don't know if this joke is trying to catch on, and I'm just not aware of it, or you're just trying to bury it. I don't know what you're trying to do here.
Bury the joke?
Yes.
Like on Wounded Knee? Like, what are we talking? Bury my joke on Wounded Knee.
We return to. I guess this kind of struck this beginning of this episode really struck me as weird. It seems like either the outside world doesn't know this entire thing is happening, or they have that much faith in their heroes that they don't care. Because they kind of compare this incident, like right now it's happening, to Deka City, and we're nowhere near finished with it yet. And we know what happened to Deka City.
Game Hunter, it's not like they announced their secret surprise raid like to the world before they did it.
Guess you're right.
We're gonna raid the city. We're gonna raid the hospital. Okay, let's notify the media. What?
I'm just saying that then again, I guess there was also that scene of like people noticing there was very few heroes or top heroes around.
Yeah, there was that, and then there's the humans, like the regulars, know, because they spend the whole episode having sort of like an Evangelion moment where they're like, we're out of control.
Well, I mean, the news reporters. That's why I was just saying, because we have scenes of Deku's mother shopping, which was kind of cute. Bakugo's mother reading what I believe to be, or looking at a book of photos of Bakugo, I'm guessing, as a kid. I don't know. It's a Katsugi memory. I can only think that it must have something to do with her son. We also have, well, I mean, Alma knows what's going on. He's watching everything happening as he's watching with Eri on his lap in front of a computer as he's sweating bullets. But then we have
Charlie. To your credit, I think it's people do notice when an entire city is being destroyed. Never mind, like the hospital. Like you would think that word would get out somehow across the world about that from there. So I think you're right. There is a little bit of plot hole / absurdity in that point. So I'm going to retract and say that you're probably right there. That's a pretty weird point in the show.
I guess not really. I mean, they're trying to. I mean, I'm trying to retract what I said, but honestly, I think they're trying to contain everything, and they're also moving people out. So there are civilians that are aware of what the heck is happening. So maybe it's just that this select people, like, either they're that confident in what's happening with the heroes, or they don't know what's happening. There's a lot of scenes of just like happy everyday life happening, like Todoroki's sister, or his older brother. Like she's at her job and he's at college, and then we have his mother. You know, she's looking out a window. Great, we don't know we can't see her face here, and she's got a blue flowers because I guess at some point Endeavor sent her flowers before he left. And maybe they are aware and they're listening to the radio. I mean, we do have the scene playing out as we're watching all this, and we're just like we're seeing the words on the screen. Maybe they were listening. Maybe they got the radio on, and again, maybe they're just not that. Maybe they're just that confident. Granted, the whole point of what the villains have been doing up to this point was to, you know, bring down the morale of the heroes from the civilians. So like, I don't know what's really all. Maybe there's a plot hole. I have no idea. It just kind of struck me as weird that, you know, I mean, I'm not expecting mass hysteria. But like maybe some recognition of what's going on right now.
But in the past major hero events like All Might's final fight and All Might's original fight ticket, it was a big deal. Like if the heroes were all out doing something important, like it made all the news channels and stuff. So it does strike me as very weird that everybody else in the world is kind of serene right now. I think maybe they didn't think that through as well as they could have.
Or I mean, to your credit, as your sarcasm, like they don't broadcast. Maybe this is one of those situations where I mean, people will probably realize that there's a significant lack of heroes. And maybe the
And
news.
also a significant lack of live people in that town at this point.
Yeah, maybe they're intending to I guess, maybe they're gonna fix whatever's going on there with like the lack of like people reacting. Possibly. I mean, a lot of people also. I mean, some of these people we've seen that they've been looking around. We have a family member who's a hero. So it's like, maybe they're kind of aware. Though I will say that I expected at least either something from Midoriya's mother. That poor woman's been doing too much right now to hear that her son's like in the middle of a war. And then Bakugo's mother. I feel like she'll pop off at somebody realizing her son is in danger, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not the one making the story.
I'm just going to throw out there that I think it's clear that they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that they specifically those two definitely, but yeah, I'm pretty sure nobody really knows what's going on. But it was weird. I just wanted to bring that up a little bit. After
I'm glad you did, Jeremy, Game Hunter, I'm glad you did. You did a good job. I'm proud of you for doing your best.
and we come back to where we ended up last time with all the Nomus just coming out from underneath the ground. We have Gran Torino, Deku, and Bakugo surprised that they're still Nomus. We actually learned really quickly that Shigaraki was controlling his decay. He was able to save quite a few of the Nomus, but not all of them. So there are in fact some dead Nomus underneath that rubble.
Save or spare? Save or spare?
I think the word could be interchangeable.
I feel like he just sort of like, I don't know if he cared a lot about killing them, you know?
No, I think he did. I mean, like I said before, the doctor was helping him and stuff like that before he got caught. The doctor even told him that these Nomus, like, you control them this way, and I think there was something about decaying, about like I guess maybe like saving them from like the ceiling from falling on them or something like that. I definitely know he said that he definitely was able to save, or as you say, spare some of the Nomus, but it was still kind of shocking that they were underneath the rubble this entire time and they finally woke up. And I guess they won't do anything unless they're told to, because I mean the doctor does mention that they're really powerful, but they're also really dumb.
Do you feel like that? I mean, we've really been hearing that pounded into our heads between the Nomus and Gigantomachina. Do you think the Gigantomachina was like an early version of what they're trying to do here? Same scientists, same people like involved.
I see what you're talking about, but like most Nomus don't have personality. Well, then again, I guess he could be an early prototype one where they didn't get rid of the person.
Does he have? I mean, does he have that much more of a personality than any of the other ones?
Yeah, because he was able to defy an order. Nomus at this point that we are aware of can't defy orders.
Yeah, but I mean, an early one wouldn't be like exactly the same thing, but it would have like a lot of similarities.
No, I know. I mean, I'm just saying that. I mean, I know these Nomus, the ones that are all like black and whatever, like a part of like we're not going down that road, Jock. We're just gonna move on.
What? No, that was a real cough. What are you saying? Sorry.
I don't. Probably doesn't believe you. Moving on.
No, I didn't even. I was coughing and I didn't even fully hear what you said. What did you say that I would have coughed about?
Most Nomus are all black, and
Oh
like,
no, I missed it. I'm sorry. I lost a great opportunity in my life.
but I know one of the things to talk about, like they're wrestling. The scientist was wrestling with the personality part of making a zombie here, and I think he realized that they need to get rid of the human element. And I guess like Gigantomachia, if he is an earlier prototype of a Nomu that they were trying to do, and maybe we're unable, like a successful earlier prototype, but they were unable to replicate it for whatever reason.
They could do
Um,
better. Like maybe they just thought, you know what, this is a good start, but I think there's still room for improvement. We're going to keep working on our creation.
they still actually don't. They still haven't used that Nomu that All Might managed to subdue all those seasons ago. I'm wondering where it's at right now.
Isn't it? It's being held.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying, but we still haven't used it. I suspected it to come back because like if all it's doing is sitting there doing nothing, like, and all it will do is respond to commands, and they definitely haven't destroyed it because they would have made mention of destroying that thing. At that point, they didn't realize they could just incinerate them, so I'm pretty sure that number was still hanging around. So it's just surprising. I guessing maybe he's not, maybe he's nowhere near it. Maybe you were right all those episodes ago that maybe they need to be within a certain vicinity to even hear a command.
Well, I mean, it's got to be within like radio distance at least, right?
I don't know if, because I know that Doctor says specifically that these Nomu, they messed around with radio waves. I don't know if they messed around with radio waves on that first Nomu. If anything, that Nomu responded specifically to Shigaraki's voice in his vicinity. Like he actually specifically told him to fight All Might, and he went out and fought him. It was like a button that was pressed.
Right. So we have a very advanced Shigaraki that they're dealing with right now.
Yeah. Also, I didn't realize that apparently, Endeavor, dang it, Eraserhead was like erasing his decay quirk and has been erasing it the entire time. I don't know where I missed that, but I guess I missed it somewhere last episode.
Yeah. Well, last episode we were talking about how impressive it is that all of his quirks are being muted right now, and this is just raw physical ability, and how he's like clapping his hands or whatever and like able to fly through like the air with like simple things like that. And he's terrifying that like he's taking on like 3 of the top 10 heroes and the 2 students with the most potential just while he's like chilling out and figuring out what he's going to do next and trying to get Deku. So they've really built him into like this force, like a huge force here that everybody's trying to like contest with. And that's one of the more terrifying things about him yet. He hasn't even gotten really started, you know. And they know if Eraserhead goes down, they're like, if we can't take this guy without powers, we have no chance when his city flattening powers like come into full view. That being said, what do you think about Endeavor? Like, what do you think about his pure endurance? Like, we know that all heroes have a limit to them, like of what they can do. We know, for example, Dabi was like burning himself out and like hitting the edges of his like ability and being kind of clever about it, but like nonetheless was kind of hitting the edges of his ability. What do you think about Endeavor right now? Like, with no pun intended, and I'm sorry for that, even bringing it up, but like, do you think he's burning himself out right now and just not talking about it?
I mean, possibly. I mean, as I said before, Endeavor, when earlier on when he was fighting that high end, that first high end that we ever saw, he pretty much got a real talking to of his ability and what his quirk is capable of, what his weaknesses are, which are burning out. All pun apparently intended there. Apparently his body can only take a certain amount of heat. So I'm pretty sure maybe he's already reached his limit and he's just pushing hardcore past it. I say this mainly because I guess as we talk about Endeavor, I mentioned during Dragon Prince that Varen was kind of changing a little bit. He was flip flopping, between wanting to the throne or whatever, and then doing what he needed to do to get the throne. And then he died, and he's come back, and I feel like he's gone through some type of metaphorical change. Probably not, but we'll see. But Endeavor, throughout the course of this series, not even like when his introduction to now, Endeavor has gone through probably some radical changes from like wanting to be number one, wanting to fight All Might, prove himself against All Might, All Might losing his ability, losing status as a hero, Endeavor gaining number one just through happenstance because he was the number two at the time, to him asking All Might, what was next. And we have that, like, as he's fighting Shigaraki, as all this is happening, we see him flash back, and this is all talking about his burning out, but we see him flash back to during one of the licensing exams, him in the stands with All Might, asking him like, what do I do? And All Might giving him some advice that honestly I didn't think he was gonna take, but it looks like it stuck with him a lot more than I was anticipating it. So much to the point where it's like, at this moment, as he's trying to save the city and save his students, the heroes here are showing that they really take their job seriously, and they really don't want to have the students involved. And some of them are showing that they do truly believe in the students that they've been training. Endeavor is going all out, as you said before, and he literally he does a move that I've never seen him do before, and it kind of mimics All Might's like greatest punch in that he's ever done. I think even the last punch he did against that Nomu, Vanishing Fist. But it proceeds with him flying, and it looked like the move that Hawks gave him, with the wings and the burning feathers that he was flying towards him. I don't know if that's All Might. I mean, I'm not sure that's Endeavor doing it by himself now, or maybe Hawks gave him some feathers before he, flew the coop, so to speak. But that punch, even though it looked epic, Shigaraki was able to withstand it, and it was impressive. But maybe he is slowly but surely burning out here. I'm not sure how much more Vanishing Fist he can pull off.
Yeah, I just don't see. He's been the front line this whole time. He's not holding back. He's using gigantic things that clearly are special abilities. He honestly, he seems scared.
Now with that, I will say that I was thinking about this actually as I was thinking about Eraserhead. Now going all the way back to when the heroes realized that something was brewing, obviously this, but they realized something was brewing. I know you mentioned that are the students really powerful. I didn't really bring this up at the time because I didn't really think about it, but during all of the training they were doing, the heroes specifically brought up that they needed to speed up the training of their prospective heroes, the students, because they don't know what's gonna happen. They're gonna probably need to call on these kids to help save the world. And it was like Eraserhead, was helping them gain more power and then be able to come up with super moves. And I noticed that they brought up that sometimes, and this happened to the villains where their powers grew and evolved. I was kind of wondering if and this kind of applies to Endeavor a little bit. Can the pro heroes' powers still, if they haven't awoken, is it possible for them to awake? I guess some of their some of their limit. Maybe some of their ultimate limit. I say this because again, I'm still stuck on this whole blue flame thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it still bothers me to an extent. It's like, why is it that we've seen one time in the entire show Endeavor exhibit blue flame one time, and it was really quick. And again, it comes back to his whole his body unable to disseminate heat. He's building up heat, and we know he's doing it here. There's no way he's not. I'm just maybe, and this is probably very nowhere near. There's no we haven't seen a pro hero, suddenly get more powerful in the middle of a fight. We've seen that with the villains. We've seen that with some of the children showing off new limits and whatever. We haven't seen a pro hero do this. in fact, we've seen pro heroes unveil new moves that we didn't know they had. Like, what's the possibility that maybe a hero's ability? I was thinking about this in terms of Eraserhead. One of Eraserhead's biggest, weaknesses is that his ability only works when he's looking at the person. I was wondering, because we're spending a lot of time with Eraserhead, and we're seeing a lot of flashbacks with him protecting his students. We even see that some of them make an impact where he wants to see where they go in the future, and he's very, very headstrong wanting to do that. So much so that it kind of compels Deku to jump in and save them, because they know that if they lose and lose him specifically, they're all doomed. I wonder if maybe has Eraserhead's abilities, because one of his weaknesses is the fact that his ability dries his eyes out. In order to compensate for that, he has learned Pramagal or whatever he's learned to fight. But I was like, is it possible that maybe, and this would be, I don't know, maybe this would be overpowered? Is that he could kind of like how what Deadlock does, where he locks somebody into place. Maybe if he can shoot out some physiological or whatever from his eye that would lock an ability down from not being used for a minute or two, not even for long, but just long enough that maybe it would be enough to turn the tide of a fight, versus just having to stare down an enemy. Because I think this is the longest we've ever seen a Eraserhead or racing ability. Am I wrong?
Yeah, but I mean, he has help.
I mean, yeah, he's got the water hero, so I don't know. Again, there's probably no real basis in reality. I don't think, maybe the pro heroes have already maxed out. I don't know. It just seems kind of interesting. But
I won't say it's not. I can't see past the point that he has help making it happen. So,
but I mean, back to Endeavor. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he's brilliant. Like I said before, I mean, he vanishing fist, as impressive as that was, and it was probably designed to mimic All Might. And I say that mainly because when he makes the fist, you hear the clapping of the fingers on the palm of his hand, and that's kind of signature of All Might whenever he makes his fist. And it almost looks similar. The only thing that was different was that it was all covered in flame and much weaker. But and I mean, Endeavor, like I said, I guess back to Endeavor changing. He's even mentioned that he can't do anything alone, and he even thinks back to All Might as he's having this moment about him doing his things his own way and not rushing into it. I guess Endeavor is he's learning to lean on people more versus leaning on his own ability.
Lean on me when you're not strong.
Part of me knew that was coming.
And I'll be your friend. I'll help you beat your wife. Oh.
Moving on, because I knew that was coming. I guess back to Eraserhead. I guess we can talk about this together. Pretty much, we see Eraserhead's in there to fight. Shigaraki is intelligently scary. Realizes
to what? To be
Shigaraki intelligently realizes that if Eraserhead can see him, that means he can see Eraserhead. And as he lunges towards him with his own superhuman abilities, essentially Eraserhead has this moment of I'm gonna take you out if I die. But apparently Eraserhead had a knife on him the entire time, which was kind of weird. I don't know if that was a support weapon or not, but he didn't get a chance to use it. Mainly because Deku got involved and kneed Shigaraki in the face and pushed him out of the way. which was crazy. Gran Torino wasn't fast enough to get save him.
Deku acted immediately without thinking, because that's what a hero does.
I don't know, Deku might have been thinking at that time, but as he was shouting that if while Eraserhead has weakened him, maybe they all should just attack him, which makes sense. Honestly, it's if he can't use his Decaying Quirk, which is the most dangerous thing about Shigaraki at this very moment, why not all attack him while he can't use it? Like, you know, that was the main point of not getting near him, because if he touched you, you were dead. Which is crazy to think that, you know, we got a villain now that all you have to do is touch you and you're dead.
You and like everything within like a city block limit.
Yeah, but he can control that.
Oh, okay. We don't know how much he can control it. He said, I tried not to. We know it worked out this time, but we don't know how much it works out all the time.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying that. I mean, I'm just saying that now it's like he's 10 times more dangerous than he was before.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, without his quirk, he's just a normal superhuman man. So it's like, you know, apparently he's also dampening all his quirks. I didn't notice that. So that's crazy. I didn't think Eraserhead could do that, because I thought Eraserhead could only erase one quirk. So like,
you know what that makes me a little off topic, but you know what that makes me wonder?
What?
That little observation the scientist made a while ago where he was like, so, like, when Eraserhead mutes a quirk and a clone, it doesn't just make the clone, the clone doesn't disappear, it's just the quirk that's neutralized. Very interesting. And then they just sort of never did anything with that fact later, because Twice is like not with us anymore. So why did they bring that point up? Like, why was that a thing in the episode?
I think, I mean, I'm not sure if you noticed it, but there was like several points of interest when it came to Eraserhead, and like even with Eraserhead's backstory that we got all that time ago, and I was disappointed with it. Thinking back on it, I don't think the point was to show that like Eraserhead was this very cool hero, which I mean he is. Let's just face it. There's been a lot of points in like which the villains were specifically targeting him. And then we got that revelation with Kurogiri, and then we even learned that the villains weren't actually aiming for, you know, who would later become Kurogiri. The villains were aiming for aiming to take Eraserhead. I think even the doctor even mentioned that, you know, the racing quirk is a really powerful quirk, and like you were the one that we were trying to get or something like that. It was mentioned a couple of times that Eraserhead has been the target of a lot of these raids that the villains were on. But I mean, but the heroes have been able to protect Eraserhead pretty evidently, and we brought this up too. Like Eraserhead's like a huge, like, I think he even said it at one point that Eraserhead, like, the ability just to straight out like make a quirk not work is freaking powerful.
As a team player, yeah.
It was like, you know, they were aiming, like specifically there's been a lot of times that they were aiming for him, and it wasn't really apparent at the time. I think even like in season 1, I think when they first attacked UA, I think they were aiming for Eraserhead, but they were unable to do it. I think even like when they broke his arm and they were attempting to take him out, or at least you know, take him with them. I don't know what they were trying to do there. I think they were trying to get to Eraserhead. We didn't know at the time, but I'm pretty sure that maybe that's what their end goal was, and maybe their end goal still is to get to him. Because no one's ever stated that they were not trying to get to him, and you know, the villains have to also that, you know, Eraserhead's really annoying. Shigaraki has gone and call him really cool. They complimented him almost every instance that he was there. It was never like we need to kill him. Well, I mean, they probably have to, we need to kill him, but in those instances, like it always seemed to be a compliment. It never seemed to be like a, you know, a negative instance of like of talking about him. It was just like he was either annoying or he's really cool or something like that. You know, like, it seems like even back when he was a kid, they were trying to get his quirk even back then.
Mm-hmm.
So it just seemed like Eraserhead seems to be a sticking point in some conflicts when he's involved in it. I mean, it might just be coincidence, but at the same time, it's just one of those things. Like, you know, I noticed that for whatever reason, like Eraserhead has been a target, and it sounds like he keeps still wanting him to be a target. I don't know what ultimately is going to happen here. It sounds like eventually, you know, they will get what they want. You know, but at what cost? I mean, who knows? It just seems really weird. Like I mean, every time I'll let you talk. It just seems really weird I guess to me, it's like, huh, I wonder how long they're gonna keep trying to get to him.
The idea of like important people being protected is like very, very prevalent in this. Um, the whole season so far has been one character trying to protect another for one reason or another. We had it with Twice. We had it with oh god, what's her name? We've had it with Twice. We had it with Dark Shadow going to save Hawks. We had it with all of the teachers trying really hard to protect their students. We've had it with the students protecting the teachers. We've had even something like everybody trying to protect Shigaraki, and he's the last line of defense because they want him to complete his evolution. Shigaraki, like, at least you were using the word protecting and I was using the word sparing, but like as far as the Nomus go, Giganto Machina being like undyingly loyal specifically to Shigaraki and like protecting and help and working for him specifically. There's been a long theme here of like everybody protecting everybody, especially teachers protecting their students, but the students are definitely in turn like turning them back over to the teachers too and saying like, we've got to protect you no matter what, guy. So I think that's a really interesting like thread that's emerging in this series, that like of like every single like hero and villain, it seems like, is in the process of protecting somebody, even like down to what's the guy's name, the guy who gets more powerful with stress?
Oh, Destro or Ray Destro?
Yeah, even there was a line like in this with Destro where he said our leader is this is going on, our leader must be vulnerable, let's go protect him.
I mean, yeah, I mean, during the situation where, like, you know, Shigaraki's in trouble with Deku and Bakugo specifically, when Deku was near him, All For One, well, wait, is it one? I forgot. His master is like, Will is still inside the crook that he gave him, and he was taking over. The whole villains and Shigaraki being the central point for all the villains, you know, gathering around. Shigaraki is becoming the next Lord of Evil, I'm guessing, is what he called his master. But you know, he's essentially their superhero. You know, he's their beacon of darkness, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, he's essentially becoming that person that people can depend on. So them trying to protect Shigaraki when they can is like, you know, yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes sense that, you know, the theme of protecting somebody that you care about is coming up a lot here.
Robbie? Oh,
did they bring her in with like, is she part of like some group? No, they brought Uraraka in. I could have sworn they brought Uraraka in and they brought Froppy in as a pair.
You said someone you care about a lot, and then just my mind immediately went to Froppy for a second. I'm sorry.
As you can tell, I didn't even acknowledge it, and you had to go ahead and just throw an acknowledgement there. Couldn't help yourself, huh?
No, I couldn't help myself. She stands. Like, they're saving her in the story to like step up and save the day. Like, she's definitely the Goku of this story. Everybody's just holding off until she gets there.
It's really crazy with Shigaraki. I mean, at least Bakugo and Deku are there to help Endeavor out with Shigaraki. You bring up that Bakugo says, let's tackle this rationally. I guess that tickled you a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I mean, of all the characters to say, let's be rational about this, guys, hang on. It's definitely not Bakugo that I would have put in those shoes.
I mean, I think he could think rationally. He just likes to say what has come to his mind, though. Like, Bakugo's been that character that, like, you know,
let's do this rationally.
He's like that. He's that crazy firecracker that you wouldn't expect to actually be able to think. You know, I mean, it's been shown over and over again that Bakugo can think. Bakugo isn't that stupid. You know, Bakugo is able to adapt.
Some of it, though, the audacity of it.
The audacity that nope. Sorry, but
it's audacious. It's absolutely audacious to be like, let's be rational, guys, when you're Bakugo.
I didn't. I mean, hey, it was cool to me that he even said that. But yeah, I did definitely notice that when he definitely said that. I didn't say. I didn't really react to it because I was just kind of like in my own mind when he said that. I kind of zoned out a little bit because, but you know, hey, I'm expecting that maybe Bakugo's gonna go through some like character driven arc at some point. Maybe this is them like letting us know that they're working on it.
Hmm.
Who knows? I really don't know. Again, the whole like Bakugo hanging around Deku thing, even though like he stated over and over again that he doesn't like him, doesn't make sense. But I mean, hey, hopefully they'll talk about that because like, that's something I'm actually interested in. But
So One for All, apparently, like, we already know he's like broken ascended. There's a scene not long after that where One for All and Shigaraki is like starting to speak to him and be like, it's time now. Like, go. Like,
I mean, yeah, he put his. I think he essentially put his will. Well, what we know, I think All for One, allowed the doctor to transplant his quirk, All for One, into Shigaraki. I think we know at this point that All for One is just trying to collect abilities that, essentially we're going to let Shigaraki do what he wanted to do, whatever that meant. And he had a copy of his original quirk. I'm pretty sure what happened there, and I mean, I don't know if we all can agree on this. I think somehow All for One put a little piece of him inside Shigaraki, and was trying to take over his body, and Shigaraki wasn't having it.
I don't disagree at all, but what's really interesting to me about this, beyond that, is that he uses decay on the visage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was in his mind though.
But is it another dimension of his ascendancy?
With Shigaraki's or All for One?
Shigaraki, is that another example of Shigaraki kind of ascending beyond, because they've called him an ascended one, and we
No,
know that
I
he's
think
throughout these new powers, that he's got new and improved control over his powers. So is the fact that he uses it in his mind metaphorically sort of another layer of how he's kind of grown beyond what he was?
I think
or
it's
is it a fun image? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I should probably shut up when you're talking.
Nah.
But no, I think it's metaphorical. I don't think it has anything to really do with Shigaraki's ability is growing. And I think it is just a metaphor for him, him outgrowing his mentor. Again, All for One has stated that one of the biggest problems with All Might and Deku's relationship is that All Might isn't really willing to move out of the way, and let Deku experience and do things on his own and make mistakes, like he's let Shigaraki do, which is what led to this moment. I think what Shigaraki did there, as it was really cool to see him actually decay his master in his mind. I did notice, I just didn't know how to really put it in words, but I think it was meant to say that he's even stated that I don't want to be you, I want to be better than you. But I think it was really poignant for Shigaraki again, is that Shigaraki is thinking and he's he's forming plans, he's doing tactics, he's actually being a leader, which is something that he was always supposed to be to begin with, but he didn't have the chops for at the very beginning of his journey. I think with him decaying his master there was showing that I don't need you anymore, and he will, I guess he will, quote unquote, try to kill him if the opportunity presented itself. I looked at it as the situation when Shigaraki was out, when they got him out of that tube earlier, and when he seemed to be dead, when he was in his own mind, I noticed, I said this before, that I liked how Shigaraki was in the middle, but his master was on the left, but his family, the one that he left behind that he killed, was on the right side, asking him to come back, we forgive you, stuff like that. But Shigaraki wasn't having any of it. He was walking away from them, and actually as he was doing that, they were decaying, and he was walking into the warm embrace of his master, the one that took care of him all that time. I guess a really weird thing. I guess you can appreciate this is kind of like how a kid, is raised by their parents and they grow up and they eventually do move on. They don't need the parent anymore. Um,
Yeah, and dad leaves you and you cry and you say, "Come back, dad, I want you." And he says, "I don't want you, son. Like, get out of my life." And you're like, "But dad, please." And he walks right out of the door. Yeah, I think that's probably part of every kid's life.
you need a
And
hug
yeah.
because that's incredibly serious. You need to address that. I would assume.
Last time I asked you for a hug on Discord, you told me to just go to Jesse about it.
I still stand by that statement. um, but yeah, it was kind of like interesting how like even I mean Sugar Rock does come out and say that he's grateful for how he was raised, but he wants to be better than him because he we go back to the flashback. He brings up like how he always wondered how one man could suppress another with just one ability, or like one just he was able to suppress one man somehow, by himself. Apparently, Shigaraki always thought that was weird. Again, it goes back to Shigaraki's mindset about like how he wants to do things, how he wants to be better. If he needs help, he'll go out there and get it. He's not ashamed of it. Um,
What do you think about the fact that Shigaraki seems to have a way to take powers?
well, that's the thing. Did you forget that all one of like the actual thing about All for One's ability was that he could just take abilities? He gave that to Shigaraki.
Okay, sure, but like, how? What? When is the one? Okay, so he's able to take them and transfer them. Can he do that? Does he know that he can't?
Has it ever been
Well,
stated that All for One can't like use All for One on One for All? Was that specifically stated?
in the first place,
Huh?
so it must have been transferred from somebody to him, right? No, that was his quirk. His quirk was that
What
he
came
was the
from
one
All
that.
for One was the stockpiling quirk, but the stockpiling quirk merged with another quirk that they didn't know the little brother had, and it became One for All. I know you're talking
Mhm.
about like how it was stated early on that no one could like unless the user willed it, it wouldn't leave. But who's to say that because All for One for All was All for One, who's to say that rule doesn't really apply? I don't think it was ever situationally stated that he could not physically pull that quirk from the body.
Yeah, that's fair.
So to your point, I mean, who's to say that like the role didn't apply to? I don't know. I mean, the quirks have been separated for so long, and there's a possibility that you're right. You know that maybe One for All, All for One is mistaken that the quirk isn't his anymore. Who knows? I mean, he's still after it, so we'll find out eventually whenever they, I guess, meet and he's able to attempt to take it, if that happens at all. Who really knows?
I don't know. Do you know?
Nope.
Well,
I,
that's two people that don't know.
I really don't know. Like I mean, I thought I read that in your notes. So I was like, doesn't he know that he could that the One for All just takes people's abilities?
I guess I didn't know it the way I should have known it, but because I think what I was less clear on was that Shigaraki had that ability.
I mean, yeah, they stated it. I think early on back when they were still inside the underground area that they specifically said that All for One had a copy of his ability, and that blew my mind. I didn't realize that's what was happening.
Right.
At some point, All for One had his ability copied, and then he took the copy, but he left the real one with his student, essentially making, as you already stated, Shigaraki the Nega Deku. The other the other Deku, whatever, the guy that the two characters now have like the most powerful quirks in the system in their bodies right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, effectively, I think I even said that it's kind of cool that now that he's the other half now, and I mean, it literally has gotten to the point where now it's like when they were near, it literally overtook Shigaraki's personality a little bit, and apparently there was a red line, and I don't know if that was blood or if that was the quirk taking over.
No, the only line I know anything about is blue. So I don't know about the red line. There's like this thin blue line I hear about a lot.
I think I'm missing some connotation, but you know, in an effort to not get drawn in this rabbit hole, we're gonna move on to the half of the episode.
So,
hmm?
so then the other half of the episode, I assume, is Giganta Machina.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can actually almost wrap this up succinctly a little bit. Giganta Machina, like, I mean, like, when they say he's the walking disaster, they were not kidding. Nobody can stop him. I mean, Mountain Lady literally had a nosebleed just trying to keep him from moving forward. I mean, even like Destro is like, you know, he's coming out saying, we gotta go and save or help our master, apparently. Which is surprising. And did he have his legs back?
He must have. He was standing. I mean, they don't show him from the waist down, but he looks like he's sort of standing up or something. So he must have gotten a hold of something. I guess if they were mechanical, like a guy's gonna like hang on to his mechanical leg back up, you know.
I mean, who knows? I mean, it definitely. I mean, yeah, we can definitely see that his allegiance has definitely shifted. You know, he's really given into the whole being a lackey thing, really easily. I noticed.
Shigaraki doesn't seem to have a lot of respect for him. Similarly, because when Giganta Machina goes to grab people, he grabs Spinner, Compressor, Dabi, and Toga, the original crew, but he doesn't grab that guy. He kind of leaves him to, you know, pound sand.
I mean, would you?
Would I get him?
Yeah, I mean, like...
He seems valuable, and he seems like he's proving himself to be loyal. I don't know if I'd not get him.
I feel like you could just dispose of him when you wanted to. Not saying that he doesn't have his uses, but I feel like he's not like Tupperware. You can't reuse him.
But
I think he's like a Ziploc bag.
Relationships with a lot of the new blood in this gang.
I mean, the only person that gathered from that new gang, and that was Dabi. He grabbed the guy that could make anything anthropomorphic, apparently, because he apparently liked him when he first saw him.
Yeah, Skeptic.
So I was like, you know, that's the only person I think they did grab from the new era. Don't know why Dabi did that. Again, Dabi seems to have his own, like,
he's got, yeah,
agenda.
He has planned nothing to do with what is going on otherwise.
So I mean, yeah, there's that. It obviously Dabi's got something going on, whatever that is. I guess he's gonna be his own major villain in the arc later on. I'm guessing based on what's happening right now. Though Dabi seemed to have some respect for Shigaraki now. I'm not sure how much of it though. What?
That makes sense if Dabi ends up being Endeavor's son, like you're pretty sure. In that case, it would track that. If that's the case, it would track that he becomes a major villain later on, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if he does. I mean, it just seems kind of weird because, like, I mean, again, Dabi has not been, you know, this has actually probably been the most active he's been ever since his introduction. Like, he usually has stayed in the background or just not being seen, period. Like, I mean, like, ever since his introduction, like, at the end of season 2, I think it was. Yeah, season 2. He has not been active. We know he's been there, but he has not been active. There was a point where we didn't know what his quirk was, and now we do know what his quirk was, but we didn't. Now we don't know his motives. But he's been active recently, which is kind of weird, considering like how very little at the time he respected Shigaraki. I feel like he's gotten some respect, not a lot, but I think he's got some respect for Shigaraki.
Can I point out that I don't have an enormous amount of respect for him? He doesn't seem very powerful if he can't hold his own against even Dark Shadow alone.
Well, who's to say that I mean, yeah, Dabi has said that, you know, he burns himself when he uses his flame, but who's to say that like that's really a weakness? And who's to say that Dabi's really been fighting at full steam?
I don't know. I mean, I know he fought Hawks before he fought Dark Shadow, but like the fight against Hawks was kind of more of a curb stomp. Like, Hawks didn't do very well.
Yeah, but I mean, say, you know, they're doing like well against Togyabin, but who's to say that he was actually fighting seriously or whatever? I mean, we know Dabi is like, he isn't always upfront with his goals or his intentions. Obviously,
Yeah, I mean,
so we don't know if he was fighting at full steam or whatever. If that was
yeah,
just
I
a
mean,
show.
that's debatable. I mean, I could see it.
Dang it.
I had to get it out.
Uh-huh. I could feel you dying as you couldn't get it out.
I needed to. It was like in me. It was deep inside of me, and it had to come.
I think you brought up sometime last few podcasts about like how heroes are losing. You know, they're seeing a lot of damage done. You know, besides like the rabbit hero losing a lot of her limbs, well, getting her limbs crushed. We see Mount Lady trying to hold Gigache Makia, and I foresaw this confrontation happening, but it didn't go the way I was envisioning it. I thought she was gonna fight and we were gonna see what she's truly capable of. Unfortunately, all we got was her, essentially a big man pushing against a small woman who could not hold him back from moving forward. And even the little, huh?
Sorry.
What?
I wouldn't exactly call her a small woman, but she was. Machina was.
I mean, according to the wording of the show, they said that he was like 2 times bigger than she was. Apparently, like, I mean, they weren't really like the same.
2 feet tall.
They weren't. You know, she wasn't exactly the same height as he was. Is what I was getting. Like his size, her size, and everything didn't match up with his.
He was 82 feet tall. Can we talk about the fact that he was 82 feet tall for a minute, please?
I mean, metrics are not my strong suit, sir. So, like, I mean, you say these words in your thing. I was like, that doesn't really mean much to me. Yeah, he's a really big man. That's all I really got.
I said feet. I took the time, like, off stream to like calculate it. Like, I looked up to see what 25 meters was when it translated over. And it turns out it's 82 feet tall. So
yeah, I mean, he's a giant man. I'm just saying, but like, I mean, according to the word was her size was not comparable to him, and like, it just didn't seem fair to me that, you know, she was the one that decided to. I mean, yeah, she's got a gigantification, but it's like, what were you expecting her to do? I mean, I don't even think she could suplex him because she would need to get around him. And for him to be still, for her to get around him and then flip him over, and there was no way she was doing that. Again, like, in the context of that, of their powers and whatever their size, she was kind of a small woman. It's not to insult her. I'm just saying that, you know, comparatively so, like, there was nothing she could have done. She was struggling so hard just to push him back, and it wasn't even working. She was being pushed backwards. So much to the point where she had a nosebleed. So it was like,
she grabs onto him and slows him down slightly, according to Creati. It's with the help of Kami Woods.
I mean, that was Jiro that said that she heard his footsteps slowing down. So I mean, yeah, as he was charging forward, she was able to slow him down a little bit. It wasn't that much. Again, this man's a giant man. This is a hulking behemoth.
Yeah.
Not to you know, say that what she wasn't doing wasn't helpful, but at the same time, it was just like, I feel that she got, like, I think this is probably the first time we've seen in this entire season, the entire show, I think this is the first time we've ever seen, you know, Mount Lady get thrown around. Like, normally we don't see her get thrown around. Very rarely, like, she'll sit down in a building or something like that, but, you know, whenever she's on the field, she doesn't normally get thrown around that much. The fact that she was thrown around by Gigantomachia is probably a feat in and of itself, because most people who fought her had trouble trying to do that. You know, they had trouble, you know, dealing with her size. Unfortunately, Gigantomachia being 82 feet tall was kind of the limit.
Did you find that exciting that, like, that worked that way?
No, I just was like, he was like, okay, well, I mean, this is just to be expected. He's a giant. She's a giant. I mean, there's nothing didn't kind of go, nothing kind of went according to plan.
Like, you started out by talking about how what she was doing was quite a feat, and then you talked about how many feet tall she was, and it's starting to sound like you have a feet fetish or something.
No, I don't. Why are you projecting?
Why am I projecting what?
I think you're the one with the feet fetish.
Well, you used feet in two different contexts in one sentence. The second time, like, really announcing the word feet, and it just makes me wonder if you got a feet fetish. That's all. No, it's okay. It's okay with me if you do.
I guess speaking of like this entire Gigantomachia thing,
because I'm not judging you. I just noticed. I'm just like,
I don't have a feet fetish. Okay, we can just move on.
Okay.
This isn't even me trying to. No, I don't have one.
We never had this much of a conversation related to feet before, and it's just all in one stream, and it just seemed a little sus to me. Is all I'm saying. It just,
And talking about like the midnight conversation, well, not midnight, talking about like my latest conversation with Gigantomachia, we have
Then you transfer right over to the porn hero. Okay, well we can talk about that.
Midnight trying to stop Gigantomachia, and
why does she rip part of her?
She has to. Her quirk comes from her skin, and apparently the clothes restricts her ability to make that mist.
So having a little bit extra shoulders, like all the difference there, and she's never thought about how she can handle this ahead of time.
There's been talks about like costumes in My Hero, and about like how there's a law in how much skin they're allowed to show. She's the reason, and I've actually seen some of her past costumes. And this is from like the My Hero Vigilante series that I am now interested in reading more of now. But I want to also point out, I think I already said this to you in Discord, I'm really upset because in my research of trying to finding out, first I wanted to learn about who the heck Majestic was, because she brings up Majestic but also says that this is too big for him. I didn't realize that they were talking about that magic hero dude. He's able to make rings, apparently. He can like throw rings into people and then move them, but apparently if they're bigger than a certain size, he won't be able to do it. So that's what she meant by this was too much for him. And then she brings up the fact that putting them to sleep is like against the law. And in my research, trying to figure out where the heck this was stated in My Hero Academia, I could not find it. And inadvertently spoiled myself on something. So
I think it's a censored version of saying they're gonna put him down.
I think it might have been mistranslations. Yeah. I mean, yeah, sleep can be determined as killing them.
Just kind of coming to sleep like they're going old Yeller on them.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out maybe they meant something more than that, because like I mean, her ability is to make people fall asleep. That's what her somnambulance lust is like putting people to sleep. That maybe she had more of an ability than we thought of. Speaking of which, she was a trooper. She was doing her best to, and also failing, of trying to stop this giant behemoth.
She did her best, but it wasn't much. She kind of jumped up with Kami Wood's
She was trying to put him to sleep, but your favorite villain, Compressed Man, stop that.
Sort of threw a street at her, but it wasn't just Compressed Man that did it. Like it was also Dabi, like shooting her with. Dabi shot
Kamui Woods, but Kamui has tossed her out of the flame.
Once he shot Kamui Woods, she was like just sort of hovering in the air. Like she was going to fall hard at that point, and then they just sort of added insult to injury with the second shot.
She was also in very much big trouble down there too. She looked very hurt.
She was very hurt, yeah. And then you see like a few villains running her way, and she has a little spark and looks up at them. But I'm not sure what she thinks she's going to do, because it looked like she could barely stand. She's a fairly advanced hero, and those guys look like jabronis, so there's a good chance that she'll get out of it. But like, the show definitely wants you to wonder if that's what's going to happen or not, because you don't see her for the rest of the show.
Yeah, I wish I could comment on that.
Even as she's down, she follows that thread of passing her wisdom on with her last breath. Like she tells them, like, you know, what the next thing to do is, and comes out selfless. And this is all sort of like very anti-Stain to me. Like I feel like all of the stuff that Stain has been criticizing heroes for is sort of being like disproven. Um, that could just be me thinking about it too hard or something. But I just, as I was watching this, I'm like, boy, Stain was really wrong about the heroism of these characters.
I mean, yeah, that was. I mean, you bring it up, and I was thinking about that quite a bit as watching seasons play out. Is like a lot of the things like that. We've only seen a couple of heroes kind of emulate what he's been talking about. But I don't even know if you even call those heroes because, like, you know, like, I mean, they had the title, they had the costume, but their personality didn't line up. I mean, it was almost like, can you really consider these guys heroes? Like, I mean, I guess maybe that's what Stain was talking about, but and maybe Stain doesn't really know what's going on right now because, like, you know, All Might. He was talking about that. He was just talking about All Might and how, like, All Might was, and how he honestly thought that was his ultimate hero. If you weren't gonna be like All Might, you were nobody. Essentially, is like what he was going on. He was like I would honestly compare Stain to like a crazed fanboy, but a fanboy that could do something about it.
Sure.
Like, you know, it was like I would compare him to that. You know, it's like he was like a fanboy, but like a fanboy that you probably couldn't stop. You know, he had his own will, and people were scared of him. He was able to take down quite a few heroes, actually, almost pretty easily.
He did a lot. I don't know how he would hang in the situation that everybody's in right now. I don't know if he'd be as tough, you know what I mean, coming across as tough as he is right now, but he would be, I mean, he'd be a threat. He'd be at least mid tier. But like if you put Stain up against Dobby, I feel like Dobby would have a really good chance. If you put Stain up against Twice, I feel like Twice would have a good chance. I would even like even somebody like Toga, I think, would not be out of her league if she was fighting Stain.
Now I'm listening to you. I just like I was waiting for a chance. Hey, and Andrew, Andre.
Toga would be a really interesting fight because both of their abilities are based on drawing blood from the other.
Yeah, it's interesting that we haven't had a hero's whose ability was based off of blood. I noticed.
Yeah, they're both based on blood, so it would be interesting to see how that worked out.
Andrew says you need better points.
Well, Andrew hasn't been here through all my super smart points that I've been making.
Yes, we were talking about My Hero Academia. Yeah, I mean, yeah, any fight with Stain in it would be interesting. I mean, he's still around. He's in jail, so.
Andrew, tell me more about Froppy, please.
As Midnight having her, like, you know, her rowing, you know, her pep talk with Yaoyorozu, and telling her, at least, like, I was surprised that apparently, okay, so she told, I think maybe whatever anesthetic that she told Yaoyorozu to make was illegal. I'm guessing is kind of what maybe like what the translation was trying to get at. Because the conversation happening in chat right now. That you know that did you do what you gotta do even if it's illegal? You might do something that's illegal apparently. It was really interesting that she was the one who was telling them that, as she was like down there really you know, down there on, like, you know, on her like last like leg trying to defend herself, and she couldn't do anything about it, telling Yaoyorozu to either run or help out the heroes was kind of cool. They even have another flashback of the, you know, apparently, you know, Midnight saying that she saw potential in Yaoyorozu and that she believed in her. I don't know, like with that, it just seemed like those kind of scenes always scare me because it always seems like a last hurrah thing that we're never gonna see them again.
Hmm.
I was those type of like, and like I like Midnight. It took me a while to come around to actually liking her as a character, like, but
I'd
I
spoon
like,
with her.
huh?
Nothing. Go ahead.
But I like her as a character. I hope she doesn't die. Cause like I like
Yeah,
to see more of her later on.
they seem like they don't like to kill off pro heroes. They let the big heroes. They seem like they like to permanently disable them. That's been the trend. All Might, the cat one that had the seek ability. Best Genist, as far as we know, is not dead yet, although it's seeming increasingly likely. Um, it seems like that's been the pattern, that like they've been permanently disabled, but not necessarily like killed.
But you know, I like her as a character. Yaya Rosa ends up coming up with a plan after wrestling with all the ideas in her brain like she normally does. But she's a lot better about it now, and she's able to come up with a quick plan, telling Jiro and Joji to use their abilities to tell how far Gigantomachia is. And as after did he find out that he is 82 feet tall, and he's closing in really fast. Yagirosa ends up popping out, I guess, like jars of an anesthetic that I don't know what they're planning to do. Because like literally, as she raises the jar up to the screen, the episode ends, and I'm a very upset person. So like we are leaving on a cliffhanger that they're going to do something and it's going to involve anesthetics. I wonder how much it will take to knock that guy out. And it's essentially the end of the episode. There is, she's got her plan.
Aw.
What did you do?
I put a YouTube link in there, and the moderator knocked me completely offline for 5 minutes. I didn't
Oh
know
yeah,
that your monitor.
I have links disabled because just trying to prevent random people from doing it. Like you had to be like a VIP or a.
That's all right. It's not like I need to chat in the next 300 seconds. I didn't expect it. So yes, do continue. So it looks like, I mean, you said how much anesthesia is it going to take, but or whatever they're using to put this guy out. She can create a limited amount, but there's no limit to how potent it would be, right?
I mean, again, her ability to make it depends on how she understands it on a molecular level. I mean, I don't know, like if there's a difference in molecules in a really potent serum. I mean, like I said, I don't know.
Yeah, but if Midnight has been training her, Midnight has probably taken some time to train her about how to use the chemicals, right? She's Midnight's student.
I guess. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I honestly think there would be a limit to how potent it is, but maybe not. Who knows? I mean, the limitation on her quirk is all just based on her ability to imagine it.
It stands to reason that she would be able to create the same like chemical that Midnight could make as her student. That Midnight would be like, let's get you hooked up with my ability to do this, and create it. Crowley could analyze it and learn how to actually do it. It just stands to reason. It's definitely not out of the question that she can create the same thing.
I mean, if she understands it on a molecular level, yeah, it's anything. And I'm not saying she can't understand it on a molecular level. I'm just saying that that's what her limitation is. It's her imagination, her ability to understand it theoretically. I wonder if there was a way for her to actually research the mist on like Midnight creates. I mean, there would have to be because, like, I mean, it's a physical thing that she produces.
the more we talk about Midnight and her, like, and Grady, like, the more I realize how much they have in common. They need to have, they're both attractive female characters that need to have exposed skin to use their powers and can create chemical-based weapons.
Well, Grady can create more than just chemical-based weapons, but yeah, I mean, yeah, they're very similar in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
It was I want to bring up before we actually ended here, because we're actually getting close to 12 o'clock here. I looked up some of her past costumes in my effort to do some research, and as again, spoil myself. Apparently, the belt, like the design for the belt, well, it's not similar, but like the fact that Yaoi Rose was wearing a belt kind of like a skirt. Midnight actually had one of her previous costumes where there's a belt that she was wearing like a skirt.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of like serendipitous that I found that when I did. I was like, wow, that's really funny.
It's a good thing Midnight's not wearing that right now, because she's got a lot more hurt than she's got skirt. You know what I mean?
Dang it. I know what you mean, but dang it. Just dang it. Okay, with that, we're going to end the podcast here. Next week, we're going to talk about... Wait. Next week is Thanksgiving. No, I mean, we should still be able to do it, unless you're busy.
Next Tuesday? No, we can do next one.
Next week, we'll be talking about the next episode of My Hero Academia, I think, if it comes out next week. And then also another episode of Dragon Prince. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for the people listening to our shenanigans. And Spear here stopping me mid-sentence sometimes and me interrupting him a lot this particular episode. I apologize again.
All good.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Fare thee well, gentle listeners.